welcome to Daddies the podcast. I'm Greg,
And I'm Eric.
and today we have special guest Brandon Reed.
Hey,
Brandon,
thank you.
thank you for joining us. If you wouldn't mind telling telling our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Brandon. I go by Cartoon Connect. I started an animation studio in 2016. Well, that's not when I started the studio, but I started animating in 2016. And I had my first viral video that year when I really took it serious. And from that point forward, I was able to, monetize off of animating different cartoons. And then I've been doing that for a living for the past 8 to 9 years, and it's been a blessing. It's been a long journey, but I'm just glad that I get to do something that I've always loved as a kid.
So this is your full time. This is your full time job. Like this is it. Wow.
Yep,
Okay.
animating and creating content. So animating is my main full-time job because I have two animated series that I'm working on full-time now. And then I also do just content in general. Like I started a puppet group with some of my buddies, and that kind of ties into, some of the revenue streams, but animation is my main thing.
Is the animation, you said you're working on 2 projects right now. Is
Yeah.
that something that you run yourself like on YouTube, or do you have it parsed out to air someplace else?
Yeah, so it started on YouTube, just as like a YouTube. I used to post on my personal YouTube channel, but later on down the line, once the show got like big enough to where people were kind of reaching out, me and the guy who was writing the show went into a deal with Malico Records, and now we all have a partnership where Malico kind of distributes the cartoon. We do all the creating, and then we all split the pot.
Do they give
So-
you creative control?
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
come up with anything that we want to for the episodes, make any. It's really just our show, and we can do whatever. They just kind of help us structure it and get everything, kind of structured. Because before we were just making episodes and putting them out, making episodes, putting them out like as we went. And now we have they work with us on getting a certain thing together where it's like, these are the episodes we're doing. We need, audio by this time. We're going to have the animation set for this time. It really just helps us keep everything organized so that we could keep the ball rolling rather than put an episode out this month and then maybe 2 months from now put the next one out.
It's honestly really refreshing to hear too that you do have that creative control, because we've talked to some individuals where it's like as soon as you start to kind of bring these deals in,
Yeah.
the creative control is kind of there, but it starts to really like, hey, we need you to drive it this way. So
Yeah.
seeing that you still are able to kind of take the reins there, I think is really really awesome to hear.
Yeah, that was one of my main things, kind of when going into those deals, because you hear so many people say they're like trapped in a deal where they can't do like this or they can't do that. And I don't know, I couldn't imagine that, especially coming from, like where I come from, we don't really get these opportunities. So I said when I did get a chance to do that, I was gonna, kind of make that be the main focal thing, that I keep my sense of creative direction and my ownership on the things that I own. Because man, some of these deals, if you don't read everything right, you could mess around and sign everything, away and only have a percentage of something that you created.
We were talking to someone, and he said by the end of like recording their album, they were like begging to get out, and they
Yeah.
eventually paid them like off to get out. But I can't imagine, like, sure, you can get out, but it's going to cost you a lot of
Yeah.
money,
Mhm.
So I feel like that's, I don't know.
Yeah. They dangle
I-
that carrot in front of you. They
Oh,
say,
yeah.
here's all
Yeah.
this money.
Yeah.
You want the fame,
Yeah,
the
and
fortune.
it looks good at the beginning, but then once you get into like once that first set of money is gone, it's like when does the rest start coming in? And it's like you got to really pay attention to some of the stuff they have in these contracts, because you never know. Depending on certain amounts, you might not even be getting paid for a while. After that initial advance they give you.
Yeah, I heard the advances are really nice, but if you don't read those fine lines, you really could set
Yeah.
yourself up.
I can see
So-
how it would be easy to like go, bro. You hear about people getting big checks like that. Usually,
Yeah.
you hear more if like someone wins the lottery. Guess what? They go bankrupt. How can you possibly go bankrupt after you get how many million dollars?
Yeah,
But
even with I'll share a story that I don't think I've ever shared this story. So my main show, this poster right here is the main show that I work on. It's called Lil Ron Ron, and when we first signed to create the partnership with Malico, we did get an advance, and I didn't blow it like really fast, but it was gone after, a certain amount of time. And I was like, man, this you never really realize how fast money can go. But luckily, our partnership is really great. By the time I did run out of that, we were already getting our what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the name of the the checks that you get, the residual
Oh, the
ones that you
residuals, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we started getting those already. So it was like once,
That's
I
good.
did blow past my advance, I was already getting my monthly, residual. So luckily I made it.
Yeah.
And so like animation is such a I've always been like really interested in it. So what kind of got you into the world of anime? Like what inspired
Yeah.
that kind of, you know?
I started so in college, I went for graphic design. I didn't know what to go to college for, but I was like, I have to go for something. So I went for graphic design, and while we were in there, we did one course on animation, and I loved it. Like it was my favorite course of like the whole time I went for my associate's degree, and I always loved cartoons anyway. Like I was one of those kids. Saturday morning, I'm getting up early so I can watch Saturday morning cartoons, like the whole nine. So once I had seen that course, I was like, you know what? I think I want to take this seriously and like actually try to be an animator. So a little bit after that, I started just watching tutorials on YouTube because I was like, I don't think I want to try to go back and like get on another loan to go to school again for it. So I just started looking on YouTube and I found a program that you could get at the time. I don't think it was a free program, but YouTube taught me how to get it for free. And then I just, I took the time to learn it. And I would say after like 2 years, I felt like I had it down enough to put my first couple videos out.
Yeah, so I feel like it's to me it seems really really challenging. So what kind of goes into it? So like can you kind of walk us through the process, like, and
Yeah.
obviously I'm sure it'll be, just so we kind of understand how that looks.
Yeah, so with the program I use a program called Moho Pro, and with that program, it's kind of like a puppeteering program. So like you can once you create a character and you rig them up, then you can continue to use that same rig like throughout all of your other cartoons. So that's kind of like the starting point. Like once I figured out how to create my characters, then I was like, okay, now it's time to really do some other stuff. So I start with the characters, get them rigged up, and then after that, I move over to the backgrounds, draw all of my backgrounds up. It really just depends on the script and which cartoon I'm working on how I kind of move forward with that. But my main thing is starting with getting the characters rigged, and then I go to the backgrounds, and then once I get those two done, it's just all about straight animation.
What's your favorite part about making like an episode? Just one episode of any of the shows that you make?
I love background design a lot because I think when I watch the Disney movies, I pay attention to all like the little stuff they put in the background. So when I make my own backgrounds, I'm thinking of stuff like that, or like thinking of putting so much detail into it, because I feel like too, when someone watches the cartoon, the amount of detail even before they, start paying attention to the story, just if they see the visual and they like it, they'll stay along to see what the story's about.
That's really interesting. So it makes me think. I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and
Yeah.
so when Resident Evil was re-released for the GameCube 20 plus years ago, something that was really fascinating to me, the backgrounds were kind of stationary and they were drawn, and then they would just kind of put the characters in. And to me, that was always that drew me into that game. And I think for like watching a Disney movie or whatever, like it's the same thing. Yes, there
Yeah.
is. It's really cool, and if you do watch it and notice it, and I feel like, yeah, a lot of people do, but that's what drew me into literally like a whole video game franchise was it was the backgrounds. So I do
Yeah.
think that's cool.
There's some games that I play based off of like the animation of the game. Like there was a recent game that came out. I can't remember the exact name, but it was like a guy on a guitar and everything like kind of popped up on the screen. It reminded me of the Spider-Verse movie.
Okay.
And I
Mm.
was like, this game looks cool, so now I want to play it. Like I don't even know what it's about, but once I seen the trailer, I was like, this looks so cool that I have to play it.
I
A
feel
lot
like
of those
that's how,
indie
yeah.
games, a lot of those indie games thrive on the games just being beautiful, and
Yeah.
they really take pride in it. I don't want to knock on AAA games. They're a lot of fun and they make a lot of money for them. But like, yeah, you get like great stories and good artwork or music when you play a small indie game.
Yeah.
I can't remember what game it was where yeah, was it, I think, Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox, I think,
Yeah.
years ago. That was one where it was like, and like Lollipop Chainsaw and a lot of those games where it's just like flashy like colors, and it just, I think it draws people in. It's
What's
just
that
Yeah.
one? Fortnite.
Yeah,
well, Fortnite.
I play a lot of Fortnite.
That
Actually, right before we jumped on here, my son Silas, he just got a victory royale, and he was like, Can you watch me play? There's only 4 people, including me." And I was like, "I guess I hurry it up though." And then he got it. We've been playing a lot of that.
Yeah,
Eric
my
and I
son.
just got into Fortnite. Yeah.
Yeah, on the weekends, my son's always like, "Can I stay up and play Fortnite with you guys?" Because me and my buddies will play like on Fridays when they don't have to work. And whenever I don't know how this always happens, but whenever my son gets on to play with us, we always get a victory royale. I don't know how. I don't know. And then he might not even have that many kills. He might not even do, too much, but we get one every time we play with him. He's hyped.
I always feel like too, it's really like so Eric and I will play with Eric's son Silas, and when I'll have like 1 kill and he'll have like 12, and it's like, and I helped because it's
And
but
he'll let
yes.
you know too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he'll say, "Wow, you guys are horrible," and it's like, "Oh, thanks, thanks for that's super encouraging."
He's level like 77 on the battle
Yeah.
pass, and we're on level like 40. I hate it.
They'll be quick to be like, "Hey, I carried you through this game." It's like, I'm trying here.
But the thing is with Fortnite too, I mean, okay, so the gameplay's fun, and I think something that it has that a lot of games doesn't is it just works. Like, I hardly
Yeah.
ever have any issues with it. I feel like the servers are very rarely ever down, and also the amount of content. I mean, Fortnite, they can literally buy any skin or have any skin available that they want. They have unlimited money, I feel like. So I think I just bought I bought the chicken from Family Guy. And I bought Moon Knight the other night. And
Did you?
But the skins are like
I wanted to
$20.
get that, but I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $20 tonight.
Well, that's what
lot of
hurts
money.
is they're what, like 12, 13, 14, 1500
Yeah.
V-bucks, and that's like $20.
Yeah, there was a pack that I wanted badly. It was the Marvel pack that had it wasn't the one with Moon Knight, but it had I forget who the main character was it had in there, but it was the main character that I wanted, and it was like $34.99, and I was like, I'll wait.
Well, and they just dropped, I think, the Metallica pack, and that's
Yeah.
like, I think, like $40 or $50 to get if you want to play as the entire band. And I'm sure,
Yeah.
like, I've been killed by James Hetfield a lot, and so I don't know. I feel like it's just genius, and they're making because it's 2 Epic Games, so they're making.
They've even taken the game and added so many new things. Like there's a new like shooting game out, and I can't remember what it's called, but it looks realistic. Like really, it kind of reminds me of like when you watch airsoft videos on YouTube, where they have the camera that's like it looks like it's in.
Is it on their
where you
gun
can-
or on their head? Or
Yeah,
on
Yeah,
their
with
chest?
the- yeah.
Fortnite just made a mode like that, and it looks really realistic. Except you have those avatars running around, but we've been stuck on it. We're like, this is cool.
I feel like that's what always gets me is you're playing Fortnite and you'll get killed by like Peter Griffin, Isaac from Dead Space, and like I don't know like a giant banana split.
Yeah.
It's
Everybody loves a crossover.
yeah, and they do it. But yeah, I think so Eric and I used to play a lot of this game. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Rogue Company, and it was a 4v4, and we played that until the developers were like, meh, let's move on, and then that's how we found Fortnite. But even before that, we were doing like PUBG and Warzone and Call of Duty. But Fortnite, just I don't know what it is. It's just a lot of fun. So kudos to Epic Games and Fortnite, because Eric and I were like, we refused to play that.
That's
And
how I
then-
was at first.
For the longest, yeah.
I was like,
Now-
I don't want to play this. I'm cool with Call of Duty. But then I started playing it, and I was like, you know what? This is probably the most fun game that I have.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. Okay, so speaking of Fortnite and collabs, so being an animator, is collaboration something that you do regularly, or is it like you
Yeah.
kind of like to do your own thing, or?
So I do like to do my own thing, but collaboration is really fun for me because I've never been like a huge writer. Like I've learned to grow to like write different scripts and do that stuff now. But when I first started, I just wanted to animate. So I would the first show that I did, I actually worked with a writer who had already kind of came. He would make the show, but just make it in like in real life skits. Like you know how people just kind of get on camera and act stuff out. He was doing that, and I was like, man, this is so good that I could just see it as a cartoon. So that was my first collaboration to make my first show, was collaborating with him. And now we're in season 12, so it's crazy
Wow.
that one collaboration has took us, through 8 years of creating content together. And then the second cartoon I'm doing with a guy named Desmond Dennis. He has 10 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
So like most of my projects that I work on are, collaborative projects.
That's cool. I feel like it adds something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like Eric and I, we would just kind of talk to each other. But when we started bringing people in, like it just adds something. Like it adds that extra something.
Yeah.
The sum of the whole is greater than its parts. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's like 4 for some reason.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I definitely understand that because a lot of I even like working with comedians too. Because if a comedian come up with a funny bit, me animating it is just kind of take it to that next level too. So yeah, I work with a lot of comedians when it comes to like writing scripts and coming up with different cartoon ideas.
I'd love to see that, like a skit that a comedian does. Exactly just that. And like
Yeah.
it's funny when a comedian can tell it, especially if they can tell it like in a live stand-up. But then to make like that's a viral video right there, is this really funny joke that's already funny, just
Yeah.
animated through with some good style. I'd love to see that.
There was a good year of my career where I just did that. Like I would just take different stand-up skits and like reanimate them. And I know this is bad. I never really asked for permission. I would just do it. But all of the comedians loved it, so they were like, "Hey, let's work together more." So it worked in my favor.
Yeah.
So when you do like a collaboration, do you reach out to the individual or do you find them reaching out to you? Is it a little mix of both? Like
Yeah,
both?
it's a little mix of both. I think the first one, like for Ron Ron, I reached out, and then for the Desmond Dennis cartoon, he just kind of messaged me one day after seeing my stuff. I get a lot of people who kind of reach out and ask about like me animating music videos or different stuff like that. So it's a little bit of both, especially when I see something that I like see a skit and I can hear the audio and I'm like, that would be a good cartoon. I instantly reach out like, hey, we should work together sometime.
I love that. We're working on our first collab right now, and it's just the experience has been really cool. It's
Yeah.
something that we've never done before because Eric and I are both like super far removed. We know nothing of the animation or the collab world. So for us, it was really cool to be able to kind of work because you don't know like what's going on in everyone's mind. So to be able
Yeah.
to kind of extrapolate those things and kind of work with other people, we've really enjoyed it. So I can only imagine someone who is significantly more talented in that regard, such as yourself, doing that is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's also it's always cool to see like somebody's idea come to life too. Like when they explain it to you first, you're like, okay, cool, let's figure this out. And then once you get through it and then you see that final product, it's like, yeah, this is cool.
And so can we touch on the puppet
Yeah.
Cottonmouth, the so because that's essentially, you said you do that group with like that's with your buddies, right?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
do it
so?
with my buddies, and then my mom is also in it too.
Okay, so is that your mom every time I watch those
Yeah.
those
Yeah, that's my mom. And I always tell people it's really funny because we don't plan any, like, I literally just be like, hey, this is the topic for the video. And then we hit record and just go. That's literally how we were kind of like as I was growing up. So now we're just kind of reenacting stuff we already went through.
I gotta say, every time you post a video, I think it's the funniest. Like those videos are the funniest because it's so relatable. And so is Duke? Is it like a puppet where it's like your hand is? Is it like the
Yeah.
old school style?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a hand puppet and it comes up to like here. But
Okay.
we made legs and stuff for him. Like we just sewed our own legs and stuff on. So he's probably maybe like this tall.
And so did you make the puppet? Like, did Duke, was that your creation or
Kind of. I
yeah.
I was at the the art store and I seen like puppets on the thing and I was like, okay, cool, I'll grab this because I was like, we could come up with something funny for this. But the puppet looked too so it was a Melissa and Doug puppet. So it was
Okay.
like everybody would know that puppet because other people have done videos with it and everything. But
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna cut the eyes out and make new eyes. And then once I did that, it just transformed it. It looked hilarious and I was like, yeah, this is it.
Well, and I notice sometimes too, like the eye will pop out, and
That's
so
that's due to me not being that good at sewing. So it just pops out sometimes.
That's great.
well, and it's hilarious, and I love that you leave it in, and you'll just put
Yeah.
like like the fallout kind of, it's so good,
At
and
first, the first time it happened, I was like, dang it. I was like upset. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just post it and see what happens. Because usually the internet loves something that they can point out. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then they loved it the first time it happened. So I was like, we'll try it again a couple of videos later. And then it just became a thing. They're like, we don't even want to see the video if his eye doesn't pop out.
wait, so does the eye just it just pops out sometimes? It's just
Yeah,
like
it's
it
it's
just
just really loose. So like if I do too much, it'll just pop out.
so
There's this one video that I see this woman post. I think she's probably on TikTok, and I think she does like cooking videos.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, she'll use her foot to
Oh,
like
I
help
know her.
prepare. And like people, you're right. That's people are
Yeah.
there and they're watching. All they want to see is that foot. As whenever that slides in there, they're like, I saw it 30 seconds
Yeah.
in. There it was.
There's a convention called VidCon that we would like just go to every now. No, Playlist Live, and I was standing at Playlist Live, and we were just watching some other creators, and I had the puppet on my wrist, and she walked up to me and was like, "Hey, you guys reacted to my video recently," and I heard her voice, and it was the same as the video, and I freaked out. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." 'Cause I love watching her videos just because I always notice like the foot on the sandwich or like something here. So to meet her in real life, it was just like it was awesome.
That was funny.
I feel like that's got to be kind of surreal, to like to meet these people and to kind of
Yeah.
like be in that like sector with them. I I I'll tell you, so we watch a lot of your stuff, and my daughter just thinks Duke is hilarious, and so do I. Always have to show my wife because I'm like, is this not Isla? Like this is 100%. I think you posted one, and he was like watching his iPad as like your mom, I think, was trying to like read him a book.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like that's my daughter, like all the time, like kids, and I don't know, it's very relatable. And have you noticed like that's what draws a lot of people in? I mean, besides it
Yeah.
being hilarious, is just the relatability, especially with parenthood. I mean, it's very relatable to us. I feel like,
Yeah. A lot of my ideas come from me just watching my kids do stuff. Like the book video, I couldn't think of a video for like 3 days, and I was like, I don't know what to like make a video about. And my wife was like, "Hey, do you guys want to come? I'll read you a book before it's time to lay down." And she started reading it, and she was like, "Tristan, why put your tablet away?" And I was like, "There it is. That's the video."
And do you are they like when you do those bits, or is it scripted, or is it just kind of like you have an idea and you just kind of roll with it, or do you have like a script for those, or is it just literally you're just doing it?
Yeah, it's just that I'll tell my mom the idea. I'll be like, you'll try to read him a book, and he'll just keep bringing, different stuff over. And then she's like, okay, well, all right, let's do it. And then we just freestyle it.
Well, and it's always
That's best. You get the most
Yeah.
natural reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare that we'll redo a clip. If we do, it's probably because of audio or something. Like today's video, I literally just left my mom's house doing a video, and a dog kept barking in the back, and I was like, do I want to keep this on? But he barked for maybe like 10 seconds of the video, so I was like, you know what? I'll just keep it in there. We'll see what the comments say.
do you do your recording, like do you have like a camera setup, or are you using like just an iPhone, or like how does the recording look for those when you do those videos?
I started off using my iPhone, but then I kept running out of storage, and I was like, I don't want to keep paying these iCloud prices. So I bought a camera. It's called the DJI Osmo, I want to say, and it's like
Okay.
it's like this big, but it's a handheld camera, and it's like probably one of the best investments I've made. I can put it in my pocket. And it's like really discreet too. So like if you want to record in public, people won't even really notice because it's not as big as a phone.
Mhm.
That's nice. Yeah, Eric and I, we went through. I mean, just buying cameras on Amazon, trying them, returning them because we didn't like them, and then
Yeah.
we finally got. But we're like stuck to webcams right now, so we're always looking for like other people's recommendations. So that
Yeah.
sounds like it's like something that obviously we would look into.
It's really good. It has a gimbal on it too, like a built-in gimbal. So like when you
Okay.
move, it kind of looks really cinematic too.
Mm.
And so how much like in terms of like recording, so that can record it can record a good bit. Like it does it
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I have like a 250 gig memory stick in there,
Oh,
and it,
wow.
it says I
Okay.
have up to like 15 hours of recording.
Oh.
I'd say
So
that's
and
enough.
at that point I feel like something's getting uploaded and taking off of that stick, you
Yeah.
know. So okay.
Go out
And
into the
so
woods and just film a whole movie.
Yeah,
sure.
you could record all day long on that thing, and then it comes with a mic too that you could connect to your shirt.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about how you kind of set up the mic situation. So is your mom mic'd up for that, or are you just straight recording through the camera?
If we're in like a loud setting, then I'll mic both of us up so that we can hear it. But if we're just at home, then I just kind of go straight through the camera microphone, and it works pretty well. But when we're in public, for sure, like if we go to the store, we have to mic up because we tried it one time without, and the video was just done. We could barely hear us. It was like ah.
Mhm.
Is it I feel like for me like I just when you do those like videos out in public, did it take you like a little while to get comfortable doing that? Because I'm sure like people are like what is going on? You know, like what
Yeah.
is that? Or
So
is it just like you just kind of
it got easier for me because by the time I started doing the videos with my mom, which was maybe like a year ago, I had already been doing content for like 7 years. So I had already took that time like early on when I first started animating and putting like because I would animate and then I would record like a vlog type video for the end of the video to make it longer. So I could be like, hey, thank you guys for watching and stuff like that. But I would record out in public sometimes. And it took me a while to get used to it. At first I was still a little nervous, but then after a while it just, started to become natural. I think it took my mom a little while though, because at first when we started doing the videos in public, she wanted to like kind of whisper. And I was like, you can tell that the video is, a little different. So, but she got used to it after a while. And now she's the one that like, we went to a doctor's appointment and she's the one that's like, hey, can you help us with this video? Like she'll ask before I'm ready to ask. I get like nervous and she's like, no, we can still do it.
Oh, that's
so
great.
so your mom is so obviously like she likes doing this and
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. I feel like
I feel like that's like a mom's dream, is to
Yeah.
like, grown son still wants to hang out with them.
Yeah, it's been really cool too. And as of recently, she kind of had to leave from her job that she's been at for like 20 years. And she was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. And I'm like, I got you. Let's keep making these videos. I'm gonna make sure you're okay. So that was
Yeah.
like, that was a big step for me because it's like, you always want to, take care of your parents and do this and do that. And it's like, man, this is the perfect opportunity for us to work together and then me still make sure that she's okay. She doesn't have to work a job anymore. So, man, that's one of the biggest blessings that, I've had happen. I get emotional talking about it just because it's like, you always, want the best for your parents and to be able to be, what I'm saying, the reason why they can, move forward financially. Man, it's amazing.
Comes full circle. She took
Yeah.
care of you. Now you can take care of her.
and
Yeah.
it isn't it like it's so fascinating to me that like we now live in a world where before it was like all right, you have to go work at you work for the state for 30 years, you get your pension and like that's it, and you would work for these jobs you hate, and now you're able to do these really cool like who would have thought 20 plus years ago you could make videos on the internet and
Yeah.
sustain life.
Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy. I think about it all the time because like in this I've learned to pivot too because there was a point in time where animation, you know what I'm saying, the revenue kind of went down and it wasn't paying the bills as much as I would have wanted it to. And that's kind of when I started working on the puppet group. But then animation started taking off again too. So now it's like, man, it's cool to be able to pivot, when you have to, because you hear people say that they've done social media for this amount of time and then they kind of fall off or, whatever you want to call it. But to know how to pivot in that moment when you see views are low, that's like it's crazy to be able to do that.
And that was kind of something that we struggled with when we first started. Like we made our Instagram and we were like, we're not going to do TikTok, like we're just going to do Instagram, and people are totally to long story short, it didn't really work out that well. We had no followers, no likes, like nothing was happening. But then my wife was like, you guys need to stay relevant. Like, you have to post content all the time, and you need to make sure you're posting stuff that's not just like meme after meme after meme. Like, people want to see certain things. So I feel like for us, like in terms of like pivoting, it was one day I was sitting there and I think I called Eric and I was like, we were paying for Instagram ads all the time, and we were getting like, I don't want to say like artificial likes or whatever, but we were getting people to follow us, but they weren't like, they weren't engaging with us.
Yeah, the engagement wasn't the same.
It was non-existent almost. So we're like, well, we have followers, but what's the point if no one wants to talk to us, converse, give us criticism? If you hate what we're doing, at least tell us so like we know what to do to get better. And then I called Eric and I was like, dude, I think we just need to start talking to people and network and just go for it. And I think it was around that time when I reached out to you, and I was like, he's not going to hit me back, but at least it'll get us out of the comfort zone, and I'm just going to go for it. And Eric was like, I guess, man,
I also thought, no one's gonna.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where you messaged me back, and I'm pretty sure I called Eric, and I was like, dude, like I think this is happening.
Yeah.
So for us, and then we managed to kind of move to TikTok and try that. But have you noticed between like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, like one favors certain things more than others? Like certain videos do better on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, so man, it's like a whole like formula that I've kind of figured out from these social medias too. TikTok, I love TikTok a lot. I used to hate it. I was like, I'm not getting on TikTok, and then I started using it, and I realized TikTok is the easiest platform to grow on. Out of all of the rest of them, TikTok is the easiest one to grow on because they will share your stuff out to everyone. Like, there's no, you could start a TikTok page and post the same type of content over and over and over and over and over, and eventually one of your videos will go up. It's bound to happen. We did that with the puppet group. We made 4 separate pages for each member in the group, and we would react to videos. And we would keep, at first, people weren't really watching them, but as we continued to do 10 plus videos a day, just constantly uploading, eventually we got a viral one. And then from that point on, the whole page has continued to grow and grow and grow. I think my first TikTok channel has like 198K, and then my second one has almost 800K, but it's all TikTok it's like my favorite one. And it's crazy because now they have other things like TikTok Shop and all this stuff. So yeah, TikTok is the easiest to grow on, in my opinion. I feel like YouTube, monetization wise, is the best one because you can make more money on YouTube than you can make on the others. But YouTube requires a lot more. You have to be consistent with the shorts and upload long form videos, like anywhere from 8 minutes to an hour. Like, they want to see you get a lot of watch time. Instagram, I like Instagram a lot. Instagram kind of reminds me of TikTok, but sometimes I feel like you could consistently post on Instagram and it won't grow the same way TikTok does. But it will eventually grow. And then what else do we have? Facebook is really good, but I feel like Facebook doesn't have real people monitoring everything. It's like automated. So like, I've had situations where I've posted a video with like me and my mom, and they're like, this isn't original content. And it's like, how? I recorded this, I uploaded it, I edit, so that's my only thing with Facebook, but I do love Facebook a lot. And I think that's all the main ones that I'm on.
Do you post certain video, like this video is reserved exclusively for Instagram or TikTok, or is it like cross-posted on every platform kind of at the same time?
Yeah, I've done it. It depends. If it's a really long video, I'll keep that just for YouTube, but then I'll make shorts with the content of that video. I use a program, I think it's like VIDYO, and you can take
Okay.
a
Yep.
hour long video and just put it in there and it'll chop it up for you. So
Mm.
I'll take my longer video, upload to YouTube, and then take my shorts that I get from that and post them on all the other platforms and let people know the videos are on YouTube.
Have you noticed using those, like you get some, like sometimes you get some really good results, and then so
Yeah.
we use Opus, and I think it's kind of similar where you drop your video in and then it cuts it up, and sometimes the clips are like, yo, like what?
Like what? There's some
Any
clips
sense at
I'm
all.
like,
Yeah.
there's a couple clips where I'm like, they could have kept this one. I don't know what this is.
All
Well,
I
and
have
then
to
they
say is we use AI to make good clips, and I'm like, well, that AI needs to be fired.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because then they charge you, like you get like credits or points or whatever, and it's like, yo, you just burned up like 150 of my points or whatever, and
Yeah,
now I
for
gotta
these
like,
videos that I'm
Can we
not
get a
gonna
refund
use.
on that clip?
well, and then like I was realizing too, like or finding out like it was scaling the quality of our
Yeah.
videos down, and is that common? Have you noticed with the?
With the one that I use, there's some videos where I do feel like the quality is different. The one that I use, they have you pay one time and then you can do as many as you want.
Oh, okay, I like that so much
Sounds
better
nice.
than what we're doing, Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I have to look
But
into that.
I think I paid like, I'm not gonna lie, I think I did pay like $80 though. But it's $80 for the year, and then
Oh.
you can do as many as you want.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we pay like $40 or $50 a month,
No,
and we get
can't be that much. Get it?
well, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we're
and
hella
so
irresponsible.
well, yeah, I know. So we were just kind of like throwing a whole bunch of stuff and seeing what would stick, and so
Yeah.
eventually, we do all of our editing for the video through Premiere Pro, and I was just sitting there and just like, all right, I guess I'll just cut the video and make the clips myself. I'm like, yo, this sucks. This is taking forever to go through an
Yeah.
hour plus video to get clips, especially if I don't like remember, and I'm not time stamping stuff. So we ended up like switching to Opus and CapCut to kind of cut stuff up. But CapCut, the same thing. They burn those credits real fast, and sometimes the videos that they yield just aren't. We had
Not
one that it
exactly
gave
what you
us.
would want. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, well, it was like the intro, and we have like an intro sequence, and it's like, yo, why is that a clip? That's not beneficial to anyone at all.
One time it gave me the same clip twice with different captions, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and then they cut it down a little bit shorter, and I'm like, this is the same thing. It's just shorter.
And I feel like too, like sometimes the captions, like I always have to go through and make sure that the captions are right.
That they
Yeah,
read
'cause
for
Like,
what the
yo,
words
what?
are.
Yeah, yeah. Like I get it, words are hard sometimes, but
You know where it's at? I'm telling you, it's all about the memes, right? You post
Yeah.
something right now with the Hawk Tui girl.
oh yeah,
It's going up. And, man,
Oh.
that's my whole timeline. I'm like,
Same.
can I watch something else? She is like taking over everything.
But you got
And
to
I don't
cash
even
in
think
on that right now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Funny part about it is I don't even think she has her own social media. I
I
think
don't think so. I've seen people looking for her, and I think,
I think
her
someone
dad
found her. I
probably
think
made
she's
her-
I think she's a bartender. Someone put.
Why-
Of course, if you're on the internet and you go viral, people will find
Yeah.
you.
But
They'll
her
find you
job's-
at work.
Yeah, her job's probably gone now though.
Oh yeah, 100%. She's the Hawk Tua girl, and like she. Well, and before that, it was the oh no, the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And it's and I'm sure in what, a week or 2 weeks it's going to be something else.
Something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think memes are hilarious, but I didn't want to become a meme page. Like I didn't want us to just post memes 20. Everyone else is doing that.
Yeah.
Everyone is, and I get it. Like memes keep you relevant, but I think I posted like one, and it was just because I was really frustrated. I uploaded a video, and in Premiere Pro, if you move a clip, it completely, like I changed the location of a file, and it completely
Yeah.
ruined the entire video. And
Oh,
I think that was the
yeah.
only time I did that, and that's why Riverside has been really nice, because it just kind of keeps everything in one location.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of cool technology out there for. I definitely use CapCut for our captions because I hate like highlighting words and changing the colors myself. So I feel like
Yeah.
being able to use technology for that and something else. I don't know if you've ever like obviously you have the ability to animate, but Eric and I are kind of going through a logo. We're working on some different logo ideas, and we've
Yeah.
been using Chat GPT for it.
Yeah.
And
AI is getting scary.
oh yeah,
It's really
yeah,
scary the amount of things you can do with AI. I use
Yeah,
ChatGPT almost, I won't say every day, but I use it a lot. Like you can
yeah.
just give it an idea and it'll like even for video ideas, I'll be like, "Hey, help me think of a list of 10 video ideas for the week for this." And it'll just start pouring them in. I'm like, "Yo, this is scary."
Hmm.
I think we had I definitely did like my performance review with
For
Yeah.
work.
ChatGPT. Yeah, for work. And
Didn't the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, didn't they say, they didn't say which episode, but I think that they said that they had ChatGPT write a whole script. They said like write a script for an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Then they made the whole episode and didn't tell anybody which one it was, and they said you won't guess which one it is. It's that good.
Wow.
But people
I
get
mean,
pissed off at that because like who is it, like the screenwriter,
Yeah.
screenwriter,
Screenwriter Guild.
Yeah.
they get upset because that's technically their jobs. So, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that there's something like, I don't know, you're with yourself, like with animators, if someone is making art in any
Well,
form.
those you can make animation in AI now. Like
Mm.
full like episodes, you can animate in AI. Of course, it's not. You could see the flaws in it, here and there, but it still looks great. Like on the surface level, when you first see it, you're like, "Oh, this is like a Disney movie," and it's something somebody made in AI.
Are
Well,
you
and I
worried
feel
about that at all, or do you think that you're going to effectively be able to use it?
I don't think I'll be able to. Well, I could use it, but I just love the feeling that I get when I'm sitting down animating something from scratch. So I don't think it's something that I would want to like really get into like using because I just the process of creating something from nothing is just amazing to me. So I don't know if I would get into like trying to use it like a lot or frequently, but I definitely wouldn't mind using it, for certain parts of a scene or to kind of help me keep stuff going.
I think it was I saw Ashton Kutcher talking about how like he was of course investing in some new AI technology, and I think the command he gave was um like ants crawling out of a hill that then pans out to show like an old time kind of town. And he said it was almost to the point where like there were some issues with the physics, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that obviously is going to take a little while to iron out. But he was like, honestly, this was almost with some tweaking probably like movie worthy. It was
Yeah.
that good. And that to me is just wild that you can just type that in.
And it can just come up with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Even from the photos, have you seen the AI thing where you can just kind of type in like an idea for a photo and then it just makes it?
We were working on, so we have our logo now, and we were like, hey, we want to kind of, as we're growing, we want to change it. And I typed in like make this logo, but here's what we want done. And what it gave us was like, oh my god. Well,
Yeah.
what it gave Eric was totally different than what it gave
Yeah,
me. And I
I
don't know
feel
what
like
version you're using, that Timu Chat GPT, because
I have Chat GPT, but ordered from Wish.com. I think I said, give me two skeletons with a hat backwards and a hat forwards, and it gave me like two stick figures, and one of those stick figures had a line for a hat. Like I was like, what are you talking
But then it
about?
gave me like two like really like badass looking skeletons with like we were like back to back in one for some
Yeah.
reason, and I was like, wait, that's so much. And all I did, I gave it like I put like 5 or 6 words in there, and it was able to, and then. ChatGPT, if you give it too many commands, it'll yell at you and say, you got to wait 30 minutes or
Yeah.
you have to pay to increase. But the fact that you're able to do that is, and I feel like, yes, like getting a professional to do it would be 1,000 times easier and it would look better. But it's cool to be able to just put this stuff in to kind of even get inspiration of
Yeah.
what and how you want something to look. I see a lot too now with like, like the AI tattoos, like, hey, I want my sleeve to look like this, and it'll like design it out for you. Before it was like you'd go onto the internet and you have to print out pictures and bring them to your tattoo artist, but now you can
Yeah.
just there's an app that I think just scans your body and just puts whatever you want, and then you can just bring that to your artist. It's
Wow.
wild that you can
Yeah.
do that now. Uh, yeah, I now. So you think that you'll always kind of do the animating on your own and kind of do your own thing without jumping into the ChatGPT or like AI. But I feel like AI is also really good with like I think it was who's Gary V
Yeah. I,
who
I watch a lot of his videos.
Gary V cracks me up, and there was someone who Eric, you know who Gary V is, right?
Mm-mm.
He's always posting like really inspirational videos, but then he'll also like go to your yard sale and like get your stuff for super cheap and rip you off and then sell it
Yeah.
for a lot of money. Like, that's his
Okay.
thing. But I think his parents owned or they own or whatever like an alcohol wine business, and he said what they use ChatGPT for is to kind of build off of what they're already doing. Like, hey, tell me about this wine, but then elaborate why this wine is better than this wine and how we can
Oh,
use that
nice.
as a strategic marketing ploy to grow our growth by this amount over this span. And I think that's where technology is and AI is really dope because to kind of get those results without would take forever but to be able to kind of get that plan in place
Yeah.
within, I mean, it spits you out those results in what, a minute,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like 30 seconds. And then especially for somebody who isn't like, because I'm not the best at like scheduling or planning things out. So like we've even used it for like making an animation schedule so that like I can figure out what times like, oh, I want to animate this at this time and figure out a schedule to keep me on track so I know I can get this done by, this time of the week. So we use it for stuff like that, and it's like really helpful.
I didn't even think about using it for scheduling because right now Eric and I just kind of share like a iPod or an iPod like an Apple Note, and we
Yeah.
just like upload our stuff. And I can only imagine with someone like you who's constantly doing a lot of different things, you have to keep that organized. And I feel like that's where I think technology is really growing and really cool to be able to do that instead of like relying on your I can just
Yeah.
kind of put it into
Can't rely on
put
this
it
for
into a
nothing,
system.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Man, I gotta write it all down because if I don't write it down, then somebody will text me and be like, "Hey, are you coming?" And I'll be like, "Wait, where?" 'Cause I forgot where I was supposed to be.
That's how we are.
Tell me, that's my wife. She's gonna say, I told you. I'll say, well, look, if I didn't acknowledge it like 3 times, I don't know about it. I won't be there.
Even like with tonight, like I was like, I want to get on at 6:15, and then I ended up running, a little bit late. But I was like, I want to be on and ready to go. I love like being there and remembering, but like I have to have that scheduled. Like
Yeah.
be here at 6 o'clock for this interview, um,
You
and
should
so
see
but
my wife had to put it on the like calendar in the kitchen. Like she puts everything on there, but I sometimes I don't even look at that, but I force myself to because I'm like, okay, she's putting this up here for a reason, so I probably should look at it. And
I
I have to look at it every morning because if not, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be for the day.
We got a kitchen calendar too, and if I don't go there every week or two and then put it on my phone, I'll miss it for sure.
Yeah, there's been something on the calendar that I still didn't see before, and she's like, "It's right here," and I'm like, "Oh, my bad."
you know what? I feel like the kitchen calendar sounds dope. I feel like we have one on our fridge, and it has like a menu from like 2 years ago that we were like, this is what we're going to eat. So we were trying to like eat out less.
Yeah.
So, we would be like, Monday we're eating this, Tuesday leftovers, and it's still there from,
That's
2 years
what I
ago.
use ChatGPT for. I asked it to make me a meal plan, and then it said, "Sure, I'll make that for you." And it said, "Give us what your preferences are. What's your goal? Are you looking to like lose fat, build muscle, blah 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 blah?" And it spit out this whole thing. It was like 4 days, 3 meals a day, all varied. And I said, "Cool, make that a shopping list." And it made a whole shopping list. And then
Wow.
And that's where I'm sitting on it. I still haven't gone to the
Yeah.
store and bought any of that stuff. And then I realized it's me not doing the meal plan and not anything else.
It's cool that it can make like, and literally in like 30 seconds, it would have made like you said, a whole meal plan, the grocery list, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you think about, okay, when you do like at least when I do a grocery order, I'm when I'm making it, I'm trying to think like, okay, what do we want to do for dinners? And I feel like I always end up picking like the same 4 or 5
Yeah.
things, and it's so
Well,
frustrating.
because the kids only eat
The
like
kids,
four
and
Yeah,
it's like,
that's the other thing too. The kids, my kids are really, well, not all of my kids, but I know my son that's just turned 9. He is very, very picky. So it's like we have to make our meal, and then we have to make him something separate because he just is. I think it's a texture thing though. Like certain textures, he's not going for it. If it has burn marks, he's not like. So we go through that a lot, trying to make meal plans for like certain things, and then figuring out what he's gonna eat separately.
Dude, that's my 9-year-old son too. We went to my daughter had her birthday. We went to a hibachi restaurant, and
Yeah,
he eats like pasta, like buttered pasta.
with
And
no sauce on it. My son does not eat sauce on it. I'm like,
so
I don't get
the
it.
best
no, it's so
part,
good.
and so he had it on the grill, and my son's just looking at it. He's just like looking at the pasta on the grill, and it's kind of like a little stir fry thing. And then my wife gets it, no sauce on this one at all, and he gives him his little serving, and he looks at it and he goes, "Nah, it's burnt. Like, what's that little brown spot on the pasta?" And he just didn't eat the whole thing. So that's probably what I'll go eat after this. I'll probably go eat his leftover unsauced pasta.
Yeah,
But yeah,
We're running into, so it's chicken nuggets for everything, or my daughter, she'll be like, hey, I want ramen, and it's like, all right, cool, like I love ramen, I'll make it for you, but then she just doesn't eat it. Or like she'll say, I want eggs, and we'll make eggs, and typically when you cook eggs, they like scrambled eggs, they get a little brown, like they just
yeah.
do. I don't like them because they're burnt, and it's like, yo. It's one of those things where, but it's funny because I feel like before I had kids, it was like, well, when I have kids, you're gonna eat what I eat, or
Yeah.
you're gonna be hungry. But then like you actually have kids, and I feel like that's
And
so
it's
far
not
from
that
the
easy.
truth.
Yeah, it's not that easy. You can try, like we've tried that. Like, hey, this is what we're eating, and if you don't want to eat this, then and then you sit there and watch them just look at the plate and get ready to cry, and it's like, okay, I can't do this. Now I have to figure out what you. Let's make some ramen or something.
yeah.
Well, and also like not to be like sound selfish, but like I love eating, so I don't want to like
Yeah.
have a terrible dinner. So okay, whatever you want, I'll make it, and then like or like sometimes we'll like if we're gonna like or like DoorDash something or get like Taco Bell or whatever, we'll feed them and wait for them to go to bed, and then we'll get our
Yeah.
food, so that way we can just kind of watch a TV show and eat, and it's beautiful. Because if not, like even like if my daughter isn't eating something, she'll come down and tell you how disgusting your food is.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
they love
yo,
to do that.
like
It's
let me
like, why
just
are you
eat.
commenting on my plate? I don't want to eat it because you just
Yeah, right.
just
Yeah, you've
talk
ruined it
crazy
for
about
me. I was looking so forward to this, and now you've ruined this for me. But I do have to ask. So, what would you say are some like animated films or like a series that had a significant impact on you, kind of professionally or personally?
Yeah. From the start, I think as a kid, I used to watch some of my favorite kid, like Hey Arnold was one of my favorites. Ed, Ed and Eddie, The Proud Family, Doug, um, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I used to just watch one of my favorite all-time cartoons though is X-Men Evolution. I thought
Oh
that
yeah.
was the greatest cartoon ever. So I love like those type of cartoons, but now like as I'm watching some of the new stuff, um, like the Sony animation stuff is always amazing. Like anything from Spider-Verse to um, Minions to all of these animated movies. The kids are excited because every time an animation movie comes out, I'm like, we're going to the movie, so we gotta go check this
Yep.
out. So, yeah, like Sony Animation Studios, though, I love almost everything that they come out with. Their animation is top tier, and Captain Underpants is a really big
Uh,
one for me too. Because
Uh-huh.
the books as a kid was like everything for me because I didn't want to read chapter books. So I'm like, I can read comics at school. Of course, I'm gonna do that. And then they came out with the movie later on. It looked great. I have over in like my corner, I have like my favorite art books from like different movies. Art of the Movie books. I love buying those just to see like the different steps that it took them to animate the movies and stuff.
I feel like the Spider-Verse movies, that to me really like it sparked, I don't know, like
Yeah,
I normally I never really got into like animated stuff until those movies. What was it, 2018, I think the first one
yeah,
came out, and I was like, holy shit, like this is, I mean, this is really cool, and this is stuff that you can't really do in like live action movies,
yeah.
and that really, Eric's really big into animated stuff more so than I am, but
Sure.
that to
Yeah.
me was what really kind of like,
Yeah. It's crisp and vibrant and colorful and
Yeah.
um,
And it's unlike anything you ever seen like in animation. And they have so many styles of animation just in that one movie that it's
mhm.
like it's hard to pay attention to one thing because there's so many different things happening. It's going between different art styles, different textures. And yeah, that's probably my favorite like animated movie of all time. Into the Spider-Verse, the whole series Across the Spider-Verse. Shoot,
Mhm.
I'm waiting for the next one.
Sure.
I definitely have to admit I did not see what was it, Across the Was that the sequel?
You didn't
Yeah.
watch the second one?
I didn't watch the second one yet. It's on Netflix. I
It's
just
so good.
haven't.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
know,
good
but
good.
though. It's just as good. I mean, like the first one's great because it was the first one. The second
Yeah.
one is just as good.
well, it's one of those things where it's like I want to watch it, but I know like Jenna's not gonna watch it. Isla's not gonna enjoy it, so I want to like watch it like by myself where I can really, But like watching movies, it's so difficult when you want to do it by yourself.
Yeah,
So
I always try
it.
to watch it when I'm editing
Oh well, yeah,
Mhm.
that's
because
it.
I notice when I'm on the computer I can just put my headphones on and watch
Yeah.
whatever I want to. In the living room, it's hard to watch a movie because the kids are
Yeah.
gonna say, "Hey, can I watch this or can I watch YouTube?" And I'm like, the living room TV isn't even mine anymore. Like the
Oh
only
yeah.
time I get to use it is when a sports event is on because I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Daddy's gonna watch this game tonight, and
Yeah.
the TV is mine for tonight."
Did you see what was it, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?
Yeah,
I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. That to me, Eric, I don't know if you saw that yet.
I didn't see it.
It came out I think a couple years ago. I don't know what, like that just I thought that was hilarious.
It
yeah,
tickled your nostalgia. That's what it did for you.
I think it was. I think
Yeah.
it was just that. And, we talked about nostalgia and, like, I don't know if it was really good, and maybe it was, or if it was just the nostalgia and, like, kind of getting to relive your youth in certain
It
ways.
could have been good to you, even if it wasn't a good. I have no idea. I didn't see like reviews for it or anything like that.
I think reviews for it were positive. I do. But to me, it was good.
yeah.
So, what would you say is kind of next for you in your career? Like, do you have any upcoming projects or goals that you're working towards?
Yeah, I want to say one of my main goals is to be able to get on. There's two things I want to do. I want to be able to have an animation on a large like streaming service platform, like a Netflix or an Amazon or something like that. That's one of the goals that I have. But I also want to be. I want Cartoon Connect to end up being like one of those big name animation studios, like a Nickelodeon or a Sony Animation or a Disney. Like I would love to see, Cartoon Connect be another, big studio like that. So that's like my future goals with it.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
that is
It's a
that's
big lofty goal, but
that is.
you gotta
Yeah,
you gotta have it aimed high.
yeah, I try to aim like for something impossible for all of my goals because the stuff that I've done now I used to think was impossible. So when I finally did some of these things and I realized that it was attainable, I was like, you know what? I don't think anything's impossible at this point. Like whatever I put my mind to is definitely possible. I just have to be willing to put that work in for it.
Yeah, I mean, when
Sure.
you were just telling us that, like, that didn't seem like an unattainable, like that goal was unobtainable. Like, that
Yeah.
seems like it well is something that could happen.
You make it seem like almost easy. Like I know I for sure you're putting work in. You said it earlier. What did you say? Oh yeah, I launched a TikTok and I got like 190K followers. What was that? Was it Lil Dicky? Is that show? And he goes,
Yeah.
it's easy to go viral.
And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, no, it is. Just go out and scream, some obscenity, and you'll go viral.
The funny thing about it, I think it gets easier when you've done it more than once. Like, cause I know people who have went viral before, but it might have been like a one-time thing, and then they kind of like keep chasing that viral moment. But once you do it more than once, you start realizing what it is like in the videos that'll make it go viral. Whether it's the timing of the video, the timing of when the jokes hit, the things that are in the background. Like when me and my mom do a video and I'm thinking I want this one to be like a big video. There's so much that goes into it from the background. Like one of the series that we do is how little kids try to rap. And whenever we do that, the scene, I'm always like, I need something in the background. So I'll hang like some toys from the blinds, and then I'll put like a certain outfit on the puppet. I'll put like the background is huge because the first they're going to be paying attention to the rap. So the rap has to be good. And then if the background has stuff in it, it's already 2 points right there. They're going to be laughing about the rap being good and what's going on in the background. So the comments are going to go up. And then the length of the video, if it's not too long, like if it's right around a minute where you can keep somebody, entertained for that whole time, it's bound to go viral. I guess I've figured out a formula, at this point for certain videos, but yeah, after a while, I just started finding out different things that I could do to kind of help with that. And every video doesn't go viral, but I think I've got the formula down to the point where it's like certain videos I can see it and be like, "Yep, that's one of those ones."
Yeah. Well, you put in that work and you've put hours and hours and hours and hours of content out there. It shows. It shows, man. You're hilarious.
You
Hey,
pop
thank
up
you.
like you pop up on my feed all the time, and also because we follow you, so I think that but
Yeah.
even before that, I mean, you've been popping up on my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube for a while now.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. It's
now,
really about output nowadays.
yeah.
Before when I first started YouTube, like 2016, it was just about like watch time and like the quality of it. And nowadays it's a little bit of both. If you can put out 10 videos a day, eventually one of them's bound to go viral.
Do you notice, is there like a length of a video that you would say, like, typically the 2-minute videos have a higher virility rate? I don't know if that's
Yeah.
even a word,
It's
but
it's
versus,
usually the really short videos, like
yeah,
30 seconds or less. If you can keep
yeah.
somebody to watch the whole video for 30 seconds, or a lot of it comes down to as soon as the video starts. I was watching a Mr. Beast video, and I think he said you have less than 5 seconds to grab their attention. And in that first 5 seconds, if nothing crazy happens, they could just start scrolling. Whereas if the video starts off and in that first couple seconds, whatever the first thing you says grabs them, then it's like they're there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like if I'm scrolling, you got a couple seconds to captivate me, or
Yeah, yeah, or you're gone.
we're just rolling.
I thought that
And
this advice was best for like resume writing. Hey, you've
Yeah,
got 5 seconds for me to scan over your resume, but it turns out it's actually the rule for social media then.
well, but
yeah,
if you think about it, I mean, social media it is the new resume, right? Like, I feel like your social media page is essentially, like, it can be
yeah.
It's a
who
snapshot of
you
you.
are. Yeah.
It's crazy because when I graduated college, I went into the graphic design field, and I had to have a resume back then. And that was the only job that I had in that field before I took social media serious. But since I've started social media, I don't even think I know where my resume is. I think like these companies reach out and then they just kind of look at the numbers and like some of the accolades I've done, and they're like, cool, we'll pay you this. Let's just do it. There's no like, they don't even, it's like, okay, I guess let's do it.
Yeah, so is that kind of how it works? It's just like, hey, like, we just need to see numbers, and then, all right, cool,
Yeah.
you're in.
If
Yep.
they feel like your engagement is there, hey, they'll be willing to throw the money at you as long as you follow by those guidelines that they have.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You think, like, when you see someone kind of like, I don't know, I feel like making it, their content is funny. It's or if it's not funny, then it's captivating, or it's
Yeah.
motivating me to do something. But I feel like I always find myself leaning more toward the funny than because now what a lot of people do is they'll take a video or a short, they'll take say a Joe Rogan clip, and they'll put it out of context, but they'll slap that like a sad song behind it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but if you actually watch the whole video, like it wasn't
wasn't
like that
even
at
like
all.
that. I've seen that so many times. People are like, "Oh, this person said this about this," and it's like, no, they didn't. You must not have watched the full thing. That was just like maybe a second of the conversation. Like you gotta watch the whole video.
I keep getting things. It's usually like, how about space facts? And it's just a slideshow, but they put really creepy music behind it. And then like if you like took the music out of it, none of those facts are scary at all. It's just like, oh, space is big. But the music just makes it's just like, woo!
It's that same song, or it'll say like someone took something from like Reddit, like a subreddit, and they'll put it like they'll put the text to like AI, and then they'll put a Minecraft video,
and then
it reads it out loud.
Minecraft parkour videos.
You know what makes me so angry about like when people do that? They make so much money from just AI generating those pictures and clips, and part of me wants to try it, but then again I'm like, no, I have something going, let's just keep going with what I got. But they make, I'm telling you, I've been to events where there was one guy that I went to an event with in New York. It was a YouTube event. He made $100,000 a month by just making finger puppet videos. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I need to figure something else out.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing finger puppet videos.
Yeah, so after this,
I was like, whoa. Like, when he said the amount because it was like, when you go to certain, like, YouTube events, you'll just have, like, different conversations on what you can do to better what you're already doing. And they were just like, let's talk about how much revenue you're making now and what you could do to make more. And they'll give you, like, tips. And when he said how much he made, I just got sick. I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Well, yeah, I feel like honestly, you see those videos pop up all the time, and then it'll be like the like cutting like the what is it, the ASMR, like cutting the sand to like a clip that's not relevant to that.
Yeah, they're just using our short attention span. They just want to keep you busy. You know how you're reading a book, or how about you're trying to get a book read to you and on your iPad at the same time, or you're trying to watch TV but you're playing around on your phone. This gives you two things. It gives you that little ASMR video that you can watch, and you listen to somebody talking over it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They've cracked their own little formula, their code.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, like we went to a 1975 concert, and when the singer Maddie was talking, he did the ASMR video. So up on the screen, it was him on the left side and someone cutting sand on the right side to captivate people to watch it, knowing like, hey, people will watch this screen. So there is, I think, it works, but it's just a matter of...
It's just a matter of I know the editing that it takes for them to sit there and find all of those clips and put it on. I guess it is work. It's a lot of work before you actually get to the AI portion. I guess I'm just, a little upset that I didn't figure that out before I started animating.
and also, like, I will gladly take $100,000+ a month.
Yeah, for something
like, I'm
worth.
It blows my mind. But I don't know. People are making money, so good for them, I guess. But it's just a matter of if you want to be that person, Yeah.
Because I wonder that too. I wonder how long they decide to do that. But if you're making that much money, it's like, let's do it long enough to where I can save enough up to do something different, I guess.
Yeah, because another trend will take over at some point. Like, I feel like as many parkour Minecraft, and it's always something really obscure, like, oh, I caught my wife cheating on me, should I stay with her? And like, I'll sit there and watch all 4 minutes.
I hate myself every time I watch it. I'm like, I know this isn't good. I know it's not. I get nothing out of this, but I can't help myself.
And then you wonder why your algorithm is so weird. But it's like you're watching, like, I watch people who like, oh, watch me, come with me as we live in a van to afford a tiny house. And like, I'll watch all 5 minutes of them, composting their own shit behind there, and it's like, yo, why am I doing this at 2:00 in the morning?
And then now the next time you log on, every video is, hey, I live in a van. Every video after that.
Well, welcome to Van Talk.
yeah, right. And I can't break the algorithm is wild.
You know what? Your algorithm, you only have yourself to thank for your own algorithm.
Every time and it's crazy. I'm trying to think of what some of the stuff recently that popped up. People eating, people making like a plate and then sitting down and eating. That's all my timeline is now because I love to eat. And every time I see it, it's like, now I gotta watch you make this because it looks good. Then I'm gonna watch you eat it because it already looked good when you made it. So it's like I'm here.
Do you ever see the videos where it's like the individual is watch me cook beef Wellington in my dorm room and they'll
I
like
love that.
it's so good.
That
They
is a
have that.
perfect example of there's no excuses.
That person just showed up on my timeline the other day cooking a lobster in the dorm room.
And it looks amazing though. Like, it's not like it looks like mid. It looks like like this looks amazing. And then like Gordon Ramsay will then let me watch you making a beef Wellington and critique you. So that's only helping your cause. I feel
and now
like.
it's just gonna keep going up until you become famous for just cooking in your dorm room.
I've been getting a lot of hey, like they'll go to a Panera, mom and pop shop kind of deal, and they'll buy like, hey, how much for 20 mac and cheeses? We want to hand them out to the homeless shelter or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like they'll end up donating, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, I do have beef with people recording stuff sometimes instead of just
because
doing.
it doesn't feel like it's 100% genuine. Like it feels like it is, but then it's like, but why'd you have to record it though?
Right,
Yeah,
like
would
it's
they still
cool.
record, or would they still feed those people?
Yeah,
if
would
they
they
weren't
still do it if
recording?
they didn't get anything from it? Like if they didn't
Right.
get any followers, money, or anything from it, would you still be recording it? You know?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I'm gonna make like a birthday cake for myself because I am alone, and like they're crying as they're doing it, but it's like, but you set the camera up, so it's not, it can't be 100% legit because you set the scene, like it's not just.
I always feel
organic.
like that when people like upload a crying video. Like I want to feel bad, but in my mind, the first thing that pops up is you set your phone on a tripod, and then you started crying, and then you edited this and put your name up and uploaded it too.
I just picture them in front of the computer like this, like.
It's so difficult to be empathetic, and like I feel like I'm a pretty empathetic person, but to that, come on,
Yeah.
I do like though the videos of people then kind of making fun of them, and it's like, oh, like it's like someone crying, and then they'll just like stop and they'll reposition the tripod, and then they'll start crying again and set it back up because I mean that's what it is, but it's. And there's that side of social media too, and that's the side that's kind of like, but they're also probably making a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there's social media is cool because there's something I feel like for anyone to do as long as you put the time in and put the effort in. I feel like there's, room for all of us.
Yeah.
Whether it be, or I don't know, TikToks of Minecraft or crying over cakes, but. Yeah. So, but let me ask you. So, for someone who is like just starting out and they want to kind of get into social media, or they want to get into like TikTok, like what would you tell them? Like someone who's aspiring to kind of be the next big thing. What's your advice as someone who's been in the arena for a while?
I think my main advice would be to just take whatever you love and use the algorithm to create content based around that. And eventually I feel like, and I know people say this all the time, but it's really true because I've done projects, on social media that I didn't 100% love. I just was doing it because it's like, this is my job. I have to, make content. And eventually you just fall off from doing it because you don't love it. But I would definitely say start off with something you love and just, create content around that and just be 100% yourself, because there's so many people who get on the internet and look at what somebody else is doing and be like, I'm gonna do that same thing, just me. And it's like, that kind of works, but it's not you though, because somebody else already did it. So I would just say do what you love, be unique, and be consistent. Consistent and dedicating to it is like one of the main things, because even if you create some content just to be creating it, like the people who make like those memes and stuff, as long as you're consistent with it, you can grow that following. So yeah, that's the main things. Being unique, loving what you do, consistency and being dedicated to it.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I had a ball with you guys.
Yeah,
good hanging out.
likewise. Yeah, it was a very good hangout. So much appreciated on this. I don't know if it's hot where it's hot as hell here in Delaware.
Yeah, it just started getting hot here. So we usually only get like 4 or 5 months of heat. Like I don't know why, but by the time June, July, August, by the time August comes, it's getting cold again, and then it just started getting hot. Maybe May. Like it's really usually cold here in Indiana for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it got. I mean, what a week or two ago? It just went from like
We've had a heat
0
wave
to
this whole last
1,000.
week. It's been
Yeah.
like upper like in the 90s every
Yeah,
single
that's
day.
how it's been
Yeah.
for us. Yeah, but before that, it was like 60s, 70s.
That's nice.
Yeah, we've been getting it's, like weather is so weird. It's like hot as hell, and then we've been getting wrecked with tornadoes for some reason.
Yeah.
Like it's such like a weird
Not a real Delaware thing, but it
Yeah,
we've been hitting them.
classic Delaware right now. Well, Brandon, thank you once again. We appreciate you coming on.
For sure, anytime.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Greg,
And I'm Eric.
and we are the Daddies. Thank you for listening.